Hi everyone, welcome to another Pilates class. Today we are doing a 30-minute glute/leg focus class. So it's all going to be leg based. We're going to be on the floor for the entirety. We may be sat up, we may be lay down, we may be on our knees, but we're going to be on the floor. If you do need any kind of wrist support or any cushions, anything like that, just grab them. So just get yourself into a comfortable seated position. Make sure you've got room around you. You can have your legs crossed, you can have your legs out in front, whatever you prefer. You can also use a wall for support as well. So we're going to think about lengthening up through our spine first. So imagine you've got that cord in the top of the crown of your head and it's just lengthening you up towards the ceiling. So we're just growing tall. We're going to take a deep breath in through our nose. As we do that, we're going to pick our shoulders up towards our ears. We're going to push them back and then we're going to breathe out. So repeat that a few times. So picking the shoulders up, breathing in through your nose, pushing them back and breathing out through your mouth. Just make the circles a little bit bigger each time. Just mobilizing into those shoulder joints, relaxing a little bit, calming the breath down. We'll do 2 more. Now we're going to slide our shoulder blades down our back. So we're going to do our spinal rotation, so make sure the spine's still nice and long. Think about keeping a little bit of tension in the belly button as well. Just going to place our hands roughly on our arms and we're going to twist side to side. So we're just rotating the shoulders round. Try to keep the legs and the hips flat on the floor. You might not be able to go very far at all, that's absolutely fine. Just twist as far as is comfortable for you. Breathing in through your nose in the centre and then breathing back out through your mouth either side. Okay, we're going to go 1 more each side. We're going to finish back in the centre. And I'm just going to float our arms back down to the sides. We're going to do our lateral flexion. So if you want to place your hands lightly on the floor, you can. You can place them on your hips, or if you'd like to increase the movement, you can extend them above your head. And we're just going to lean side to side. So we're going to breathe in, lengthen up in the centre, and then breathe out and lean slightly side to side. If it becomes too much with the arms, just place the hands by the sides. I want you to think about keeping the shoulders stacked. So we've still got that pane of glass in front and behind us. We're not leaning the shoulder forward or back. And we're keeping both bum cheeks on the floor as well. So we're not going really far. It's just a little bit of a lean. Okay, we're going to go 1 more each side. I'm going to finish back in the centre. And we're going to do our neck mobility. So lengthen back up through that spine, make sure you're sat nice and upright. I'm just going to twist the head side to side. So you want to keep the rest of the body nice and still. Breathing in through your nose, breathing back out through the mouth. Think about keeping the chin parallel to the floor. Go 1 more each side. Finish back in the centre. Then we're just going to drop the ear towards the shoulder. Bring that back up and over to the opposite shoulder. Again, think about keeping both bum cheeks on the floor. Just stretching the neck. You'll probably feel a nice stretch in the tops of the shoulders too. Breathing in through your nose, breathing back out through your mouth. Okay, we're going to go 1 more each side. We're going to finish back in the centre, and then we're going to make our way down onto our side. So we're going to do our side leg series. You can have your elbow underneath your shoulder, Or if you like, you can be down on your arm as well if that's more comfortable for you. We're just working kind of the legs and the glutes, so the upper body's not too important. I want you to think about still keeping the shoulders stacked on top of each other. If you'd like to place the top hand on your hip, this is also quite useful. We don't want the hips moving. We're not having the hips rocking backwards and forwards. So keeping your hand there will make sure the hips stay where they need to. So the knees are bent forward, feet are together. We're going to breathe into the nose. And on the out breath, we're just going to clam the legs. So we're lifting that knee up, we're squeezing the glute to do that. And we're going to do this 8 times. So squeezing the glutes, keeping the pelvis forward. We're keeping a little bit of tension in the belly button too. Keeping the movement nice and slow and controlled. Once you've done your 8 clams, we're going to extend that leg straight. And we're going to lift and lower that leg. Now try not to place the foot back on the floor as you do this. Think about squeezing that glute to lift that leg up. And again, the hips aren't moving, so we're not using the hips to kind of throw the leg into the air. The leg doesn't need to move very much at all. Only probably about a foot up off the floor. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And once you've done your 8, we're going to hold that foot up and we're going to do our little circles. So we're going to do 8 circles one way and then we're going to do 8 circles the other way. So again, keeping that hand on the hip, making sure the hips aren't rolling. All the movements coming from the leg and that hip joint. Breathing in through your nose, breathing back out through your mouth. 8 one way and then 8 the other. Keeping the belly button pulled into. And then once you've done your 8 both sides, just going to bring that leg back in and just give it a bit of a rub for a second. And we're going to switch sides. So make your way over to your other side. If you just want to flip yourself over, you can. I'm going to do exactly the same exercises on the opposite side. So make sure you set yourself up nicely so your hips are going to be stacked. If you want to be down on your arms, shoulders are still stacked, hand on that hip, breathing in through your nose, on the out breath, clamming that leg up. So making sure the hips are staying nice and still, we're really squeezing that glute. Again, the leg may not open very far at all, as long as there's some movement. Breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth, 8 reps. Once you've done your 8 clams, we're going to extend that leg out straight and we're going to lift and lower that leg. So 8 times. Try not to touch back down if you can. Really think about lifting with the heel. Squeezing the glute, keeping it nice and slow and controlled. You want it to be going up and down at the same tempo. Once you've done your 8, we're going to do the 8 little circles. So we're going 8 circles one way. And then 8 circles the other way. Breathing in through your nose, back out through your mouth. Once you've done all those, just going to bend that leg back in. I'm going to give it a bit of a rub again. And then we're going to roll over onto our front. We're going to come up into a plank position. I'm going to adjust myself slightly. Now with our plank today, we're going to add in mountain climbers. So you may have done these before. We're not going to see as many as we can do. We're going to keep them nice and slow and controlled. If you want to stay on your hands and knees, you can. But we're going to place the wrists underneath the shoulders. We're going to extend the legs back into that plank position. And we're going to think about pushing through the wrists, keeping that belly button pulled in. We're going to breathe in, and on the out breath, we're going to bring that one knee towards the opposite elbow. We're then going to place that back down. We do the other leg. So breathing in, breathing out, bringing that leg forward. Fantastic. So we're pushing through the wrists still. We're keeping that nice plank position. And we're really trying to touch the elbow with the opposite knee. In through the nose, out through the mouth. We're going to do 2 more each side. slow and controlled. Once you've done those, we're going to slowly lower ourselves all the way down to the floor. We're going to take a couple of breaths. And we're going to place our hands underneath our forehead to support our forehead. We're going to do our swimming legs. So a lot of the time we'll do these with our swan dive. We're not going to do the top half today, it's just the bottom half. So if you want to have a cushion as well, you can. We're going to place the forehead on your hands. We're going to breathe into the nose on the out breath. We're going to squeeze the glute and we're going to lift the leg. We're going to keep it nice and straight. And we're going to place that back down slowly. And the opposite leg. So breathing in, breathing out, lifting that leg, placing that back down. So I really want you to think about really squeezing that glute. So you're contracting all the muscles in that leg. You're pointing the feet. You're really thinking about trying to stretch that leg away from the body. So in through the nose, out through the mouth, slowly lifting that leg, placing that back down again. Keeping the knee nice and straight. Squeezing those glutes. We're going to do 2 more each side. Keep them nice and controlled. Keeping them nice and slow. Once you've done your 2, we're going to push back into child's pose. So place your hands underneath your shoulders. We're going to bring the feet together, spread the knees, and just sit that bum back. Place the forehead on the floor. I'm going to take a couple of deep breaths here just to relax for a second. So breathing in through your nose, breathing back out through your mouth. Lengthening through the back, stretching the fingertips forward. Okay, when you're ready, we're going to come up into a kneeling position. So we're going to be in all fours. We're going to have our hands underneath our shoulders and our knees underneath our hips. And we're going to do our froggy leg lifts. So we're going to start with the knee bent and then we're going to extend the leg out straight to the side for that added intense option if you like. We're going to keep the hips as level as we can. We're going to take a deep breath in. On that out breath, we're going to fire hydrant that leg to the side. Bring that back. Lift and lower. So really think about squeezing the glute to lift it up. And you really want to think about keeping the hips nice and level as well. So we're not pushing ourselves around. We're keeping that movement nice and slow and controlled. So this is working the outside of our leg, our glutes, our hip muscles. Okay, we're going to do one more this side. We're going to do the other side. So breathing in, breathing out. And we're going to do 6 this side. I lost track of how many we did the first side. I do apologise. You should be used to me and my lack of counting now. Once you've done your 6 on the opposite side, we're going to do that first side again. So breathing in, resetting, breathing out, back to that first side. So really think about squeezing the glutes, keeping the hips level. Once you've done the 6 on that first side, we're going to go back to the second side and we're going to do our final 6. Breathing in through your nose, breathing back out through your mouth. Once you've done those, just going to sit back for a second. Just give your wrists a little bit of a break, give them a bit of a wiggle. Take a couple of breaths. Once you're ready, We're going to come back into all fours. So make sure you've got your wrists underneath your shoulders, pushing through those wrists as well to keep them nice and engaged. If it does become quite a lot, you can do it on your fists as well. So you can just place the fist down, that should be a little bit easier for you. Having the knees underneath the hips. We're going to take a deep breath in, we're going to extend that leg out, and we're going to lift this 3 times. So we're going to pulse up 3 times. I'm going to place that back down. We're going to breathe, and we're going to do that again. Place it down, breathing in, breathing out. 1 last time, 3 pulses. And we're going to reset, and we're going to do the opposite side. So extend that leg, take a deep breath, pulse that leg up. Place it back down. Breathing in, breathing out. And our last 3 pulses. Fantastic. Bring the knees back in. I'm just going to sit up for a second, just give the wrists another little bit of a roll if you need that. And we're going to do our glute isolation. So it's very similar movement, but this time the leg is going to be behind us. Is there enough room for me? Yes, there is. Lovely. This time we're going to come down onto our forearms, and we're just going to clasp the hands in front of us, whatever's comfortable. Now we can be sat down on our legs, or we can be leaning up a little bit and have the leg further up. So we're going to extend that leg back. So you can be up here, or you can sit that further back. We're going to take a deep breath in. On our out breath, we're going to lift the leg 6 times. So keeping the leg nice and straight. Keeping the belly button pulled in as well. We're going to tuck that tailbone under, so I don't want to see any twerking. Once you've done the 6, we're going to switch sides. So bring that knee in. Switch that over. Squeezing the glute, and I'm kicking the plant. I do apologise, plant. Lifting and lowering that leg. Once you've done the 6, we're going to repeat with that first side. Maybe try sitting further back onto your foot, see if you find that more difficult. And we're going to repeat with that second side. So breathing into the nose, breathing out through the mouth, 6 pulses. And once you're done, bring that knee back in. And we're going to do a nice little pigeon stretch just to stretch that out. So you stay where you are, you should be in roughly a kneeling position. We're going to bring that one knee forward, pull that foot, and just sit the leg back. Walk the hands back towards that knee. Just take a couple of breaths here. Bring that down to our forearms. And you should feel the stretch just intensify slightly in that front glute. Okay, we're going to come back up. We're going to switch sides. So just place your weight into your hands. Bring the opposite leg forward. Extend the other leg back. Walk the hands back and take a few breaths here. Okay, we come down to our forearms. Bring that back up. And we're slowly going to roll over off to that side. Bring that leg round. Fantastic. So you need to make sure you've got a little bit of room to roll back. Put a sneaky little bit of core in, just in case you didn't notice. So we're going to do a couple of roll-ups from seated. Just have the feet out in front of you. The knees are going to be hip distance apart. Feet are roughly hip distance as well. Place the hands lightly on your thighs. We're lengthening up to the spine. We're going to breathe in on the out breath. We're going to C-curve the spine. So we're pulling that belly button in and we're going to roll back off the pelvis. And we're going to roll down roughly to our shoulder blades. We're going to breathe in here and we're going to breathe out, and we're slowly going to curl that back up again. Stacking that up straight at the top. Fantastic. So breathing in, breathing out, rolling off the pelvis, really C-curving that spine. Rolling that down a little bit further this time. Breathing in, breathing out, rolling that back up. Stacking it back up straight at the top. If you want to increase, you can take the arms off the legs. Roll that down slowly, maybe all the way down this time. See if you can roll up and roll down at the same speed. So if it takes you 4 or 5 counts to get down, see if it takes you 4 or 5 to get back up again. Okay, we're going to do one more and then we're going to finish down. So make it nice and slow. Vertebrae by vertebrae into the floor, all the way down. Fantastic. So we're going to do our glute bridge now. So bring your feet close into your butt. You're going to have your knees facing up towards the ceiling and they're going to be roughly hip distance apart as well. So I want you to think about pinning those shoulder blades down into the floor. The arms are going to go down by the side. We're going to take a deep breath in. On that out breath, we're going to push through our heels. We're going to squeeze our glutes and we're slowly going to peel our pelvis up off the floor, peeling each vertebrae up into that ski slope position. Breathing in when we get here and then breathing out and slowly placing that back down one by one. So breathing in at the bottom, breathing out, squeezing the glutes, pushing through the feet, peeling that up off the floor. Again, you're just working with your breath. So if you need to do them slightly slower or slightly quicker, that's absolutely fine. But just keep that control, keep that nice tempo going. And again, you want to be making sure that you're rolling up that spine the same amount of time as you're rolling back down. So taking your time with that movement and keeping the glutes squeezed the whole time. So pushing through the feet. Think about pulling up on the inside of the thighs as well. So make sure the knees haven't splayed out to the sides. They're still pointing up towards the ceiling. This is really good for your pelvic floor, so not just your glutes and your legs, but generally the whole posterior chain and all those little muscles inside too. So really think about shrink wrapping that middle as you come up. So we're pulling the belly button in. Imagine like wrapping yourself up in cling film. So we're just shrinking that all in, making that smaller and tighter. Pushing through the feet, squeezing the glutes, keeping it nice and slow and controlled. We're going to do 2 more. So take your time with the movement, breathing back in at the top, and then breathing out to come back down. Make the last one as good as that first one. Once you get to the bottom, just tuck the knees into the chest, wrap the arms around, and just rock side to side slightly. And take a couple of deep breaths here. I'm going to do our single leg stretch next. So we can turn this, we can make this easier and we can make this harder. So I'll show you the mid-range option. We're going to place our hands around one leg, we're going to bring that knee in and we're going to extend the other one out. So we don't want it on the floor, we're going to keep it hovered above the floor. We're then going to curl our shoulders up towards that knee too. So we're keeping the belly button down so we haven't got a gap in our lower back. We're pushing that down, we're breathing in here and then we're breathing out and we're going to switch those legs. Bringing the other knee in, breathing in, breathing out, switching those legs. So keeping them nice and slow and controlled. Trying not to touch the foot down as you extend that out. You can point the toes, keep the toes pointed and really think about straightening that leg and lengthening the leg away from the body. I'm trying to stretch it out kind of along gravity, so it's along the floor. Keeping that belly button down, breathing in, breathing out on the movement. This is really good for the hip flexors as well as the core and the legs. So into the nose, out through the mouth. And if you want to increase, you can turn it into bicycle, so you can straighten that leg up and you can switch the legs with straight legs. Again, keeping that belly button pulled down to the floor. Switching the legs mid-air. Keeping it nice and slow and controlled. Keeping the legs nice and straight if you want to increase. Into the nose, out through the mouth, keeping that belly button pulled in. We're going to do 2 more each leg. Once you're done, you're just going to place your feet flat on the floor, place the shoulders back down. We'll do a nice little glute stretch. I want you to pick your right leg up, place the right foot across the left thigh. I'm going to push that knee away to start with. Take a breath here. If you want to stay here, that's fine. If you want to increase, pick the left foot up off the floor, take the hands behind and just bring that leg in towards you. Place that back down and we're going to switch sides, so pick the left leg up, place that left foot across the right thigh and push the knee away for a second. You can stay here or you can increase and pick that right foot up and place the hands behind the thigh. Place that back down. We're going to do our hamstring stretches. So we're going to take our one leg up into the air. We're going to think about keeping the knee nice and straight. I'm just going to place the hands lightly either side of the thigh. We're just going to point and flex that foot too. And as you notice, as you flex that foot, you should get a little bit of a calf stretch in there as well. Take that leg across the body. You should feel a stretch down the outside of the leg. Bring that back into the centre, take it all the way out to the side and feel the stretch down the inside of the leg. Bring that leg back in and we're going to switch sides. So taking the other leg up into the air, straightening that knee. And just point and flex that foot. Breathing in through your nose still. And then breathing back out through your mouth. Take that leg across the body. You should feel a stretch down the outside of the leg. Think about trying to keep both hips into the floor as you do this. Bring the leg back into the center, taking it all the way out to the side. You should feel a stretch down the inside of that leg. Bring that back into the center. Place the foot flat on the floor. We're going to finish with our spinal twists. So I want you to cross your right leg over your left leg. Take your arms out. And then just let the knees drop towards the left hand side. Taking some deep breaths here. Bring the knees back into the center. Uncross the legs, cross the left over the right, and just let the knees drop towards the right hand side. Bring the knees back into the center. Uncross those legs. We're just going to roll over onto our side and make our way back up into a nice comfortable seated position. So just take a few deep breaths here, bring your awareness back into the room. And thank you very much for joining. I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope it wasn't too much. If you do have any questions, anything like that, just drop us a message. Like, subscribe, all the usual. All our social links are in the bio in our About Us section as well. And we'll see you soon. Thank you.